Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. The suspect in the deadly attack on a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs is being held on murder and hate crimes charges. Court records show 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich faces 5 murder charges and 5 charges of committing a bias-motivated crime, causing bodily injury in Saturday night's attack at Club Q. Officials revised the number of people hurt down to 18, including 17 who suffered gunshot wounds. Aldrich remains hospitalized with unspecified injuries. A law enforcement official told the Associated Press a suspect used an AR-15 style semi-automatic weapon and a handgun with additional ammunition magazines that were recovered. Richard Fierro, a retired military veteran, was the patron who grabbed Aldrich's gun, hit him with it, and pinned him down until police arrived. He spoke to the media and said he was there with his daughter and her boyfriend, who was among those killed.
We went out to see a show and have a good time. And thank God Raymond was smiling and was dancing with my kid. And my daughter got to spend the last day with him happy.
Many decried extremist and anti-gay rhetoric, including that of Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert, a Republican who won re-election in last week's midterms. She's repeatedly referred to LGBTQ people as groomers. Colorado Governor Jared Polis, who is the nation's first openly gay governor, ordered all state flags to be flown at half-staff through next Saturday. Jury deliberations are underway in the Oath Keepers seditious conspiracy trial. Hundreds of people have been convicted in the deadly January 6th Capitol attack that left dozens of officers injured and sent lawmakers running for their lives. Oath Keeper founder Stuart Rhodes and 4 associates now face seditious conspiracy, the toughest charges against anyone involved in the deadly Capitol siege. Trial arguments wrapped up Monday after prosecutors spent weeks trying to make the case. Stuart Rhodes and his band of anti-government extremists were not whipped into impulsive frenzy by President Donald Trump on January 6th, but planned and executed an action intent on stopping the transfer of presidential power. A rail strike looms as one of the largest rail unions rejected a deal Monday over concerns about demanding schedules and the lack of paid sick time. Consumers in nearly every industry would be affected if freight trains grind to a halt next month in a strike. The U.S. hasn't seen one in a century. Catherine Carley has more.
If the CEO of the railroad or other top executives at that railroad, I wonder if they would get fired if they got sick or if they had a medical emergency in their families. I doubt very much that they would get fired.
Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont says he supports railroad workers' efforts to fight for increased medical leave as they continue to negotiate new contracts. One of the largest railroad unions narrowly voted to reject a contract deal brokered by the White House in September. Experts say a national rail strike ahead of the holidays could cripple the U.S. economy. I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
The global soccer tournament called World Cup is underway. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken criticized FIFA's threats against players who wear armbands supporting inclusion and diversity today.
One of the most powerful things about football, about soccer, is its potential to bring the world together. It's always concerning from my perspective when we see any restrictions on freedom of expression. It's especially so when the expression is for diversity and for inclusion. And in my judgment, at least, no one on a football pitch should be forced to choose between supporting these values and playing for their team.
Iran's team was silent during the singing of the national anthem, seen as a silent protest and nod to the nationwide protests in Iran against its strict theocratic rule that's killed hundreds of protesters since the uprising after the death of a woman while in custody of Iran's morality police for not wearing her headscarf properly. The death toll in Indonesia from a 5.6 magnitude earthquake has risen to 262 people. Many are children who were in school buildings. More than 1,000 were injured. One of Ukraine's energy chiefs says rolling blackouts across Ukraine could continue through March. The warning comes as Ukrainians brace for an extremely grim winter after weeks of relentless Russian strikes against its power grid. An official today described the power grid damage as colossal. Some 48,000 University of California graduate student workers are in week 2 of an open-ended strike for better wages and benefits, including childcare. Workers rallied at a picket line Monday at UCLA. Claire Beer is a PhD graduate in geography.
We are demanding $54,000 a year because that is actually what it would take to have affordable housing in LA. And I think that's about $30,000 more than we currently make, and that's a pretty clear display of how much we are struggling right now. And if the UC wants to continue to be the #1 public university in the world and recruit and train the best PhDs in the world, we have to address what it actually means materially to be here and to train for 5 to 8 years.
A union representing graduate student workers says the UC's new offer would force workers to pay 56% of their income on rent. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.